And hello from Paris, Gare du Nord. I've just arrived on the RER from Gare du Nord to this huge station that by my reckoning has 44 platforms. However, the RER arrivals hall is fairly easy to navigate and you just follow the signs to the Grande Ligne. And this will take you up the escalators to exactly where you need to be. Eurostar is just up the next escalator, but we have plenty of time to dally in the station, so let's have a look at the architecture and maybe do a bit of train spotting. Whilst there's been a station here since 1846, this majestic affair, designed by architect Jacques-Ignace Hittorf, was completed in 1864. It's interesting to note that the support columns here were cast in Glasgow, as this was the only foundry large enough in Europe for the task. Before we go up to Eurostar departures, it's always worth a moment to just step outside and gaze upon the majesty of the station's exterior. It truly is a gem. And back inside, the big Union flag marks the place where the escalator takes you up to the Eurostar. And up here you get yet another cracking view of the station train shed. So, while I go through security and passport control for France and then the UK, let's have a look at our route for today. We'll leave Paris northbound onto the LGV Nord high-speed line, and then just south of Lille the line turns northwest for Calais and the Channel Tunnel. Once through the tunnel, we'll continue on high-speed 1 through Kent until we pass under the River Thames and then skirt under London to finally pull into London St Pancras International. The distance travelled will be around 492 kilometres or 305 miles, and we're scheduled to take 2 hours and 16 minutes. The Eurostar departure lounge has various views of the station below, but none can beat this one looking straight down the platform numbers. We are called forward and my standard premier seat is in the rearmost coach of this 16-coach train. And here's our train. It's a Class 374, also known as E320, electric multiple unit built by Siemens in Germany on their Velaro platform. And as I enter the cabin, I think I'm in exactly the same seat number that I rode on the outbound journey from London to Paris. So I know what I'm in for, and I'm looking rather smug about it too. Right, for the uninitiated, let's do a quick seat tour. Well, there's a handy footrest for shorter people, or maybe people who just like a footrest. There's also a low-level document wallet, and above is a very ample and sturdy tray table. Above the tray table is yet another document wallet, and I do wonder how many passports get picked up by the cleaners from these. And behind this little door is a vanity mirror, and to my left is a cup, or is it a GoPro holder, which features its very own downlighter for some reason. The reading light switch is below the left armrest, which also has a handy groove for resting phones, tablets and laptops in when they're not in use. Just don't forget your phone, Johnny, when you put it there. And as you'd expect in this class, both armrests are retractable too. And underneath the GoPro holder is the European style plug socket and also a USB power supply too. You can also extend the length of the seat for more leg support if you wish. And of course, the seat itself reclines with a number of positions to choose from. It's a great seat. And with that, we're away from Paris on time. And soon we are passing the extensive train storage and maintenance facilities to the north of the station, where we immediately see Eurostar, SNCF and Thalys trains awaiting their next roster. But it's obviously SNCF and their Technicentre that takes up most of the space.
Eva are looking forward to welcoming you in our van of electronic or vapor cigarette is forbidden.
So the actual amount paid needs to go to the data sheet. It's much closer to the paid amount.
Beyond Saint-Denis, there is additional SNCF Technicentre for local and regional trains. And that's it, we've left northern Paris and are now on the LGV Nord high-speed line. And as if by magic, the high-speed line heralds the arrival of my meal, which is very welcome indeed. As a vegetarian, I selected the quiche with coleslaw, which comes with a bread roll. and I thought, the white wine would probably complement that nicely. There's also a kind of marble cake brownie, which I will save until the coffee comes round. Well, the wine was very pleasant indeed, and the local time is about 5 p.m, and after spending all day travelling up from the French Alps, I was ready to kick back. TGV Haute Picardie is one of those in the middle of nowhere TGV stations, although it does sit at the intersection of two auto routes, hence the massive car park. Once across the Somme, we soon enter the Pas-de-Calais region, but we still have a way to go yet before the tunnel. The landscape in this region is often described as flat and boring, but it is ideal for both high-speed trains and wind turbines. At the Fretin Triangle, we are joined by the high-speed line from Brussels. Mont-de-Terre station marks the southern approaches to Lille. Lille-Flandre station is just beyond these stabling yards, but we will dive into a tunnel here to pass underneath the city of Lille. And now we're out of Lille and ready for our run to the tunnel entrance. This really is a very relaxing way of travelling from Paris to London. As we pass Calais-Fretin, we begin to slow as we get closer to the tunnel entrance. But don't kid yourself, this station is for Calais, as it's fully 10 kilometres away from the town. But here is where Eurotunnel has its Le Shuttle terminal, which is just on the other side of the train. We are joined by the line from the Eurotunnel terminal for this final approach to the tunnel entrance. And that's it, we're in. So, while there's nothing to see outside, let's take a walk. Just beyond our coach, the team are busy in the servery. And then it's quite a long walk forward, following the signs for the Café Métropole. There's an accessible toilet in this coach with plenty of space for wheelchairs and people with reduced mobility. And as you can see, you can choose between airline seats, such as mine, or table seats. And there's also plenty of luggage space at the carriage ends. By the way, if you're worried about moving through the train, you shouldn't be, as these high-speed lines and trains are very smooth indeed. I've travelled standard class with Eurostar many times, and the coaches and the seats are just fine for what is only really about 2 hours on the train. It's also great to see it so busy. Well, there's a lot more space in the luggage racks at this end of the coach, and the young man in the vestibule was practicing on his guitar. That was lovely to see. Finally at the cafe, time for a coffee. The cafe is a great place to come and chill for a bit and get something to eat and drink if you're in standard class. Additionally, the cafe sells Oyster cards for UK Underground travel and also Paris Metro tickets, and that can save you a lot of hassle. I bought my RER ticket today at Gare du Nord, and the queues for the machines were long and it was a really fiddly process. On the way back to the seat, let's have a quick look in the accessible toilet, and everything is shipshape and working fine. And with that, we are in the UK on High Speed 1. Ashford used to have Eurostar services, but these have not been restored since the COVID-19 epidemic. Indeed, all Eurostar intermediate stations on the UK side remain closed to Eurostar traffic. And as we're flying through Kent, it's probably worth stopping to consider how much this journey cost me or what it might cost you. Today I was travelling on a first-class Interrail ticket, so I had to pay €39 supplement for a seat reservation on the train. If you bought this seat directly from Eurostar, the prices will vary depending on the day and time of travel and how long you book in advance. The price of my standard Premier ride today could range from as low as €110 up to as high as €319. After crossing under the Thames, we get a lovely view of the Queen Elizabeth Bridge at the Dartford crossing. And then into London and into the tunnels we go before we finally pop out just north of St Pancras station.
7h36,
And we get a much better look at one of the Class 395 Javelins as it makes its way to one of the Kentish coastal towns. I do have a journey on one of those on the channel too, if you're interested. And as we're sat on this side of the train, we also get to see St Pancras Basin on the Regent's Canal and the King's Cross Water Tower. And with that, we slide into the platform just as another Javelin is pulling out from the southeastern platforms. And that's it, and it's time to get off the train, and I'm expecting a fairly long walk as we're right at the back today. But that's okay, I have a very leisurely connection for my train home departing from Paddington Station. And who could complain about the walk when we get an even longer time to savour this beautiful train shed at St Pancras? Well, I think I must be the last one to leave, but I don't mind. Nothing beyond these exit barriers is going to be as lovely as standing here. And there's a very simple exit into the station. We've already done passport control in Paris. There are some customs signs here, but it's reasonably low-key. And here we are in the station. Before I go, I'm going to climb up and pay my respects to John Betjeman, who was instrumental in saving the station from demolition, and then I'll have one last wistful look around the station before I descend into the underground. I hope you've enjoyed this journey with me from Paris Gare du Nord to London St Pancras International with Eurostar. If you are planning a similar trip, then I hope the information has been helpful along the way, and may I wish you a bon voyage. Anyway, if you've enjoyed it, then give it a like, and if you haven't already, do click that subscribe button as I release a new travel video every Friday, with some bonus videos on a Monday. And by subscribing, you'll have less chance of missing one. And if you have any thoughts on Eurostar, then drop them in the comments, as it's always nice to hear from you all. But now, from the depths of London Underground, it's goodbye and thanks for watching.